I know that if an agent has 20 active listings, they're going to have a great next 6 months. And this is one of the ways they do it is they keep themselves motivated by knowing their numbers. So I'm going to share my screen with you and show you how we determine that number by using our listing inventory calculator. Hi, this is Brian Icenhower, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about our listing inventory calculator. And it's a tool we use and that I found that is probably one of the best tools for tracking production throughout the year. And what we do with a listing inventory calculator is we're trying to track the number of active listings that an agent needs to maintain at any given times to reach their desired goal for the year. So a lot of agents will track, and they'll track things like closed units year to date or closed sales volume year to date, or the number of sales volume closed and pended year to date, which is great. Except when we do that, we're always looking in the rear view mirror. We're looking at what has already happened. And we're just trying to kind of look at that. And let's say that we're 3 months into the year, and at 3 months, we've closed 30 transactions. If our goal is 120, then we could say, all right, there's 12 months in the year. So, take 3 months, divide it by 12. We got 4 months. All right. So 4 times 30 transactions. Hey, we're right on track. The problem is, we just have to assume it's going to happen again, that we're just going to keep closing 30 transactions. We have no view out the front windshield of the car to see what's coming. And active listing inventory is what does that. It's a tool that top producers use to really help not only motivate themselves, but really determine what's coming down the road. And it creates a lot of urgency and motivation if you track it too, because if you know that you need to always maintain a certain number of active listings at any given time, you won't get quite so excited when one of your listing sells and goes under contract, because now you need to hurry and get more listings so that we can get that inventory back up to the desired level. You'll see this happen, a lot through spring and summer seasons, if those are the hot seasons in your area. In a lot of areas they are in North America, the spring and summer are heavy selling seasons. So through the heavy seasons, it's very hard to keep your inventory up because it keeps selling. And the worst thing that can happen to a top producer is have no more listings, because with no more listings, we have no product to sell, and we can always count on having a lot of active buyers in those hot seasons. So we want to make sure that listing inventory is up. And it works in slow markets too. If the market's slow, you just need to carry even more listings to ensure that a lower percentage of them still can sell and you can still hit your goals. So listings drive this business. They also drive leads. So having a lot of listings active at any given time will start to attract a lot of buyers. So if buyers are what you're after, you need to have a lot of listings. That's, you got to kind of have the flower if you want to catch a bee. Chasing a bumblebee around town is going to be tough. But if you got a lot of listings, the bumblebees will come to you and you'll get a lot of buyers. So that active listing inventory is huge. So I know that if an agent has, 20 active listings, they're going to have a great next 6 months. But if, conversely, if they only have 2, well, we're going to have a shaky next 6 months because we're not sure how many transactions we're going to have, but they can actually move ahead with confidence if they know how many active listings they need to maintain at any given time throughout the year. So that's where I think top producers differ from a lot of lower producers, is they're really geared towards listing inventory and keeping it up. So they're constantly motivated to do the activities to get more business, even when they're busy handling a lot of transactions that are already under contract. And this is one of the ways they do it, is they keep themselves motivated by knowing their numbers. So I'm going to share my screen with you and show you how we determine that number by using our listing inventory calculator. It's a very simple form to use. And it's really just an Excel spreadsheet too. And it's something we use with all of our coaching clients. But basically we're going to be filling out the yellow spaces on here, and you can see my cursor moving over them. Once we fill out those yellow cells on the form, it's going to generate how many listings we need to carry at any given time. And this is an editable form, and I've already filled it out for you, but I'll show you how it works. Basically, we're going to click on the cell that says, what is the income I want to earn? And basically what I had previously put in here, and I'm not going to change that, is 500,000 in gross commission income here. So we start there. What's our goal for gross commission income? And then we take our average sales price for the area. And in this case, we've got 400,000 is our average sales price. So we pop that in, and you can look at last year's numbers or where you're tracking this year and put that number in. And this is the average commission rate you charge. I'd love to see 3% in there across the board. And this is your commission rate per side, seller side or buyer side. 3% is kind of an industry standard that's out there, but we know commissions are negotiable. So sometimes that's reduced, and that's usually a little bit more indicated by if you're representing a lot of buyers. Sometimes on the buyer's side, the listing agent's only paying 2.5 to the buy side, so you might see that. Or depending on what market you work in, what's customary. I put 2.5% in here to cover that one. Okay. And that's going to automatically, those three numbers are going to automatically calculate your average commission check and the number of units closed that you need to hit your GCI goal. And then it's going to automatically calculate a 10% fallout rate, because we know some deals just don't go through. For whatever reason, they fall out, when they're under contract and they never actually make it to closing. So we always want to calculate that in there, just because when it happens, we don't want to be that upset about it. We want to know we've already calculated in our goals. So that's why we've got those in there. So then we take that number and it automatically adds that to the number of units you need to close. Then we get down to the next box that requires our effort. The next yellow box asks you what percentage of your closings will be listings. Right here, what percentage of your closings would be listing? And we just want a realistic estimate. What percentage of your transactions for the upcoming year will be listings versus representing buyers? If you don't know, put 50% in there. Usually it's somewhere between 40% and 60% for most agents. They have a reasonable mix between the two. So we put that in there. If you're running a real estate team, we're going to do all of these numbers for the entire team. So we want gross commission income at the top for the whole team, all the commission checks of all the agents added up. Then everything else will, same with your team. What percentage of your team's closings will be listings? We do it there as well too. So we put that in there. I'm going to do some multiplication for you, and then we can move down to the next box where it says what percentage of your listings will actually sell. And we just want a realistic estimate. If you do a lot of referral-based work, with your sphere of influence, typically those are going to actually sell. You have a good relationship with them. It's easier to get price reductions and price them correctly off the bat. So you could be anywhere between 70% to 90% here. Some of them will expire. They won't sell because you have unrealistic sellers maybe, or the house is in just such poor condition, or it's just too unique. I really caution yourself against putting 100% in here, because usually you do get one listing that won't sell from time to time, and you want to put it in here so it doesn't throw off your numbers. So this is kind of a high number, 90% in my opinion. I like to see something usually around 70, 80%. It's usually a little bit more realistic, but you know your numbers better than I do, so put in what fits you. Finally, we move down to what's your average days on market in your multiple listing service in your area. And again, this number is usually going to be a little bit higher than you think too. Oftentimes you say, well, I'm getting all my houses sold in 30 days. But if you look at the average days on market, you'll see it's a lot higher, like 60, 70, 80, who knows. Understand that's because there are some listings out there that just sit forever and throw the whole average off. And quite frankly, you typically have some too. And if we're going to count them as listings as part of our listing inventory, you have to account for having some listings that just take a long time to sell. Because remember, this is an average days on market, not what typically happens. So put something in there. You could, one of the best ways to do that is just look in your MLS at your MLS's average days on market and use that one. If you think that your skills and pricing abilities are a little bit better, you might want to drop it down a little bit lower than that as well too, but just put a realistic number in there. Then down at the bottom, it's going to actually tell you in the black shaded box here, based on these numbers, this agent needs to carry 10 active listings at all times throughout the year to hit their goal. It doesn't sound like a lot, maybe, to some of you, to make $500,000 in gross commission income, but understand that means at all times. So we always have to carry 10. If you have a bunch of listings sell and you go down to 8, that's going to, and you only have 8 listings for 1 month out of the year, that is going to actually lower your trajectory towards your goals, and you might be on path to earn $425,000. We need to always be above that number. So that's kind of our break-even threshold for our goal. So it's safer to carry 12 and 13 in case a few of them sell. You can still be happy about it when they do sell. Down below, then we're going to actually kind of bridge the gap a little bit by looking at the number of listings you currently have. And this agent has quite a few. They've got, let's make this a little bit more realistic. Let's say that this agent has only 5 listings. That means they currently are below their threshold, and they need to get 5 more right now in a hurry to get up to the inventory requirement needed to stay on path to hit that $500,000 gross commission income goal. Anyway, so that's how we use the GCI calculator. And when you get a number like this, like the number 10, that number 10 is very important. So we kind of keep that close to our vest. We keep that number at a place that we always remember, keep it first of mind. So we always want to keep our active listing inventory above that number. If we start putting a lot of things under contract, please don't get busy and start working in your transactions 100% of the time. We also need to keep one eye on the future so that we do keep our marketing departments open and we are out there trying to get more listings to generate more new business if we want to stay on track with our goals. Okay, well, thanks a lot, everybody, and appreciate you spending time with me today.